ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता शिविशाखान्वितंश्च श्रीकृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कान्द राधा कान्द नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवे प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसूक्तां सञ्जीवयति अखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नां अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणां नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। जयदं सुहृदो पङ्गुर्मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पादाम्बुजो राधामदनमोहनो तमादिदेवं करुणानिधानं तमालवर्णं सुहृदावतारम् अपार संसार समुद्र सेतुं भजामहे भागवत स्वरूपम्। परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्षीय क्षराय दे सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुमे। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा हरि ओम तत्सत। So welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are reading from Canto 1, third chapter, 31st sloka onwards. Hare Krishna. Okay. यथा नभसि मेघौ घो रेणुर्वा पार्थिवो निले एवं दृश्यत्वम् आरोपितम् अबुद्धिभिः। यथा नभसि मेघौ घो रेणुर्वा पार्थिवो निले एवं दृश्यत्वम् आरोपितम् अबुद्धिभिः। हरे कृष्णा। मयूरी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम। यथा नभसि मेघौ घो रेणुर्वा पार्थिवो अनिले एवं दृश्यत्वम् आरोपितम् अबुद्धिभिः।
Very good. Kabir Prabhu, translation please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Clouds and dust are carried by the air, but less intelligent persons say that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conceptions on the spirit self.
Very good. Clouds and dust are carried by the air, but less intelligent persons say that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conceptions on the spirit self. So, the air is carrying the clouds and dust everywhere. But the less intelligent people say that the sky is cloudy Actually, sky is pure. Because the air carries clouds and dust, it looks like it is cloudy and dirty. Similarly, we also have some bodily conception because we have a body that is made up of Panchabhuta, five gross elements, Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Kam. We think that, we are this body. And this is covered. What is covered? The spirits, the soul is covered by the body, the five gross elements, and three subtle elements. So we mistake the self to be this body and mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that's the example given here. The sky is clear, but the air carries the dust and clouds. So that's why we feel that the sky is cloudy and dirty. Actually, it is not. It is because of the air which carries, which spreads everywhere. So we feel like that. Similarly, we are also having a bodily conception of life. We forget the very self, the soul, which is pure. The soul is pure, Sachidananda, isn't it? What is the constitution of the soul? It is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. It is not contaminated with the gross body. It is not contaminated with the modes of nature. So that is the example given here. So it is further confirmed herein that with our material eyes and senses, we cannot see the Lord, who is all spirit. Similarly, we cannot see with our blunt material senses the Supreme Lord, the spirit. We cannot see the soul, we cannot see the super soul also. Both are spirit. One, the super soul is infinite and we are infinitesimal. We cannot even detect the spiritual spark which exists within the material body of the living being. We cannot even detect, we cannot see the soul which is residing in the material body of the living being. So subtle. The body is gross, but the subtle body is subtle. The mind, intelligence, and false ego consisting of the subtle body. So that is subtle. Subtler than that is Atma, the soul. Even subtler than that is the Paramatma. We cannot see even the subtle body, which comprises of mind, intelligence, false ego. So what to speak of soul and what to speak of the super soul. So we look to the outward covering of the body or subtle mind of the living being, but we cannot see the spiritual spark within the body. Okay. Can we see the mind? Can we see the intelligence? Can we see the false ego? Can anyone? We can experience, definitely. But can we see with our blunt eyes? We cannot see, right? But does it mean that mind is not there? Intelligence is not there? Can anyone touch and show the mind within our body? Can anyone touch and show the intelligence? So everything cannot be perceived. Whatever gross is there can be perceived. Subtle cannot be perceived. Even the gross living entities, we cannot perceive because our eyes, our perception, our sight is not capable of perceiving many living entities. Many living entities there in the atmosphere. We cannot perceive them. They're also gross. They're also made of five gross elements, but we cannot see. So subtle. Subtler than that is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. How we can see. So it doesn't mean that there are no living entities around us just because we cannot perceive them, we cannot see them. Similarly, there are many subtle elements that we cannot see, we cannot perceive. And even subtler than that is the soul. Even subtler than that is the super soul. Okay. So we have to accept the living being's presence by the presence of the gross body. So when we see the gross body, we see that there is a living entity. Similarly, those who want to see the Lord with their present material eyes or with the material senses are advised to meditate on the gigantic external feature called the Virat Rupa. Those less intelligent people, okay, those who cannot understand the higher philosophy, they are advised to see the Lord or meditate upon the Virat Rupa, because they will not be able to understand the subtler principles of this philosophy. So for them, less intelligent people, for the benefit of atheistic people, this Virat Rupa is manifested, because they cannot understand the subtle nature of the soul and the subtle nature of the super soul. Similarly, those who want to see the Lord with their present material eyes or with the material senses are advised to meditate on the gigantic external feature called Virat Rupa. For instance, when a particular gentleman goes in his car, which can be seen very easily, we identify the car with the man within the car. When the president goes out in his particular car, we say, there is the president. For the time being, we identify the car with the president because we see the car, president's car. We don't see him inside. Maybe it is tinted. The glasses are tinted. So, but we say immediately, so president is going. We have not seen the president. We identify the car, the president with his car. Similarly, less intelligent people identify the person with the body, not with the soul. So that's an example given here. So when the president goes out in his particular car, we say there is the president. For the time being, we identify the car with the president. Similarly, less intelligent men who want to see God immediately without necessary qualification are shown first the gigantic material cosmos as the form of the Lord. Or the Lord is within and without. He is within and without. Okay? He is there everywhere. That one of the feature of the Supreme Lord is his energy. Okay? Vishnu means one who is present everywhere. Vasudeva. Okay? Vasudeva is also one who is spread everywhere. Jagannivasa. Okay? Jagannivasa. Nivasa means one who resides the whole material universe. Jagat. Okay? So, Lord is everywhere, but that aspect we cannot see. So just to make the less intelligent people understand that Lord is everywhere, so he is in the Virat Rupa. That Virat Rupa has spread throughout the material manifestation. That's what here it is said. Immediately without necessary qualification are shown with the gigantic material cosmos as the form of the Lord, although the Lord is within and without. He is within and is without also. He is everywhere, he is within each and every one of us, each and every living entities, and is outside also. Okay. He is within as Paramatma, he is outside for the less intelligent in the Virat Rupa, and for others who understand that Lord has a spiritual form, he can manifest himself in the Archa Vigraha or the temple. Again, some people with less intelligence think that the Lord is only in the temple. So they will go. And some people think that Lord is everywhere, so not necessary to go to temple. That's also another extreme. If Lord is everywhere, why we should go to the temple? They will ask. If Lord is everywhere, Lord is in the temple also, you can go. And the other extreme is that Lord is everywhere. Why I should go to the temple? So we have to understand that Lord has a spiritual form. So to interact with the Supreme Lord, we need a medium. Okay. So Lord facilitates to come and reside in the deity Archa Vigraha in the temple so that we can have Adan Pradhan, reciprocal dealings with him. Okay. Lord is everywhere without seeing him because we have no spiritual vision. We cannot see his Paramatma feature. So for the Lord has facilitated for people like us to see him in the Archa Vigraha. And others, because they cannot understand that, Lord is limited in this Archa Vigraha. How is it possible? For such people, Virat Rupa. So it is a beginning stage. Virat Rupa, those who doesn't have much intelligence, they will accept that. But as they progress in spirituality, then they will understand the Lord is everywhere. The Lord is a transcendent form. The Lord has appeared in the Arsa Vigraha. So like that, slowly and gradually, we will progress in our spiritual pursuit. So the clouds in the sky and the blue of the sky are better appreciated in this connection. So this is the example given, the sky and the cloud and like that. So this for our understanding. Although the bluish tint of the sky and the sky itself are different, we conceive the color of the sky as blue. It is not the bluish tint of the sky and the sky itself are different, not same. Because our perception is like that. When we see the blue tint, we think that is the sky. But here it says it is different. We conceive of the color of the sky as blue. But that is general conception for the layman only. It's a general conception for the layman. They are different. They are not identical. The sky and the color, the bluish tint of the sky are different. That's what Prabhupada says in this purport. So is it clear? Any questions or any doubts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what did you tell about that Vasudeva?
Yeah.
Jagannavath means and Vasudeva?
Yeah, Vasudeva means one who resides everywhere, one who is all pervading. Sab jagah. Jagannivas. Now he is residing throughout the universe in his energy, just like governor and governance. Okay. Governor is in his office, but his energy is there everywhere, the whole kingdom or the whole country or state, wherever he is governing. So through the governance, that is the energy of the governor, he is present everywhere. Just like the proprietor of a big factory, he doesn't come to the factory every day, but his energy is there as rules and regulation. So every workers or every staff in the factory follows the rules and regulation. If you don't follow the rules and regulation, supervisor, see, the boss will come tomorrow. If you don't work properly, you'll be punished. The boss is not there. Boss is sitting somewhere else, but he is present in that factory as a governance. Just like governor is doing the governance without his personal presence. Similarly, the Supreme Lord's energy is present everywhere. So everything works properly as an automated system works. So the Lord is sitting in his Gola Vrindavana, playing with cowherd boys and calves and cows. He's least bothered about the material world. But his energy manages everything automatically. That is how the energy and the energetic works. Supreme Lord is energetic and his energy is controlling everything under his supervision only. So this material world is controlled by the external energy of the Supreme Lord, who is also known as Maya, superintendent of this material world. Okay, Mataji?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anything else? Any other questions, or we'll move to the next verse? Text 32. Atha param yad avyaktam avyudha guna brinhidam adrishta shruda vastutvat सजीवो यत् पुनर्भवाम् अथा परं यदव्यक्तम् अव्यूढा गुणबृंहितम् अदृष्टाश्रुतवस्तुत्वात् सजीवो यत् पुनर्भवाम्. Okay, who else? Vivek Prabhu, can you please recite? Can't hear. There's some problem. Okay, Uma, can you please recite?
अतः परं यदव्यक्तम् अव्यूढागुणबृंहितम् अदृष्टाश्रुतवस्तुत्वात् सजीवो यत्पुनर्भवः.
Very good. Translation, Trivani Mataji, can you please read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Behind this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form behind this subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births.
Very good. Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond his subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births. So, Sudha Goswami is telling, beyond this gross conception of form, what is the ground conception? Our body. Okay, it's gross. So beyond this, there is a subtle body. The subtle body, as we know, is mind, intelligence, and false ego, which we cannot see, which has no shape, and it is unheard. Only after going through the scriptures from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we know that there is a subtle body. Otherwise, we won't know it. We think that this is the body, but still 99.99% people doesn't know that there's a subtle body. They know mind, intelligence, and false ego, all this. They may know. But they don't know that's a body. There's a body. It's a subtle body. Because, we are reading, because we are getting this knowledge from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we know that. Most of the people doesn't know. If you just go to the public and ask, especially those who are following Sanatana Dharma, those Hindus, so-called Hindus. What is our scripture? Holy scripture? Many of them doesn't know. It's a pathetic condition, isn't it? So what to speak of the gross body, subtle body, soul, super soul? Difficult. Yes, it is. We are all fortunate to at least know something, isn't it? So many of our people doesn't know about this. So this because we have not been given that education. That is very, very sad that we are not given proper education about our scripture, about our culture, about our dharma. So it's a high time that we all learn and we pass on this to our children and friends and relatives. We are all living in darkness. We're all living in darkness. So the subtle body has no shape and it is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. Okay? Unmanifest in the sense we cannot see that. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety. See, the subtle body has no form, gross body has a form, but the living being has a form. How do we understand this? The gross body has a form, the subtle body has no form, and the subtler than that, that is the living being, the soul, as a form. How do we understand that? And that is the reason we have repeated births. Can anybody explain?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapranam.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, what my understanding is that soul is Satchidananda in the minute thing. On that cover is there, which is a false ego. So this soul is having a form of Satchidananda Rupa.
Okay.
But subtle body have three additional components, which is called false ego, and two more components are there.
Mind and intelligence.
Mind and intelligence. And the body having all the Panchatattvas on the top of that intelligence. So Panchatattvas we can see, false ego and mind, with the soul we can see that one. And then soul is having the Rupa of Satchidananda Vigraha, part and partial of God, and the position is a servant of the God.
Very good. So, as Prabhuji rightly said, the gross body is made up of 5 gross elements, which we can see, which is perceivable by our senses. Subtle body, it is a body. It's a temporary body, just like the gross body is also temporary. Subtle body is also temporary, but there is no shape. It cannot be seen also. It is also material. It is perishable. Gross body is also perishable. It's also material. But the subtlest of everything in our body is the soul, which is not perishable, which is not material, and it is Satchidananda. It has a form. What is the size of the spirit soul in the Svedasvatara Upanishad? 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. So that is a part of that is a measurement of the soul. It has a shape, but unfortunately it is in a seed form. Because we are in the material world, this soul, which is in the seed form, is covered by the gross. Because only then we can see. But when we get purified, when we get liberation, goes to the spiritual world, we'll have our Swarupa. Okay, we will have our spiritual body, which can be perceived there, because everyone there is Satchidananda. Here only the soul is Satchidananda. Our perception is material, our senses are material, body is material, subtle body is material. So with our blunt senses, we cannot see the spirit. So that's what it is said here. Beyond the gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape, no formal shape. So when I say, okay, when I think of, say, my son was in Dubai, where is my mind? My mind is in Dubai. Okay? So mind has no localized position, place. Mind is where my thought is. We cannot say mind is in our brain, mind is in our heart. Yes, it can be anywhere. When I think of, some place in America, it immediately travels there. When I think of some people, immediately it goes there. So it is not, mind is not localized. And so the other two elements also. It's not localized. We cannot point out this mind or intelligence or ego stays in so and so place. Especially mind travels. But it is my mind. It cannot mix up with somebody else's mind. Okay, my mind travels to America. Okay. So many people say, you are also thinking of America. I am also thinking of America. So my mind and your mind will mix up? No. So my mind is mine only. Your mind is, it doesn't mix up. So it collides and mix up, and no. My mind is mine. But only thing is, When I think of certain things, it goes, travels, and there. So it is not localized. Just like the nose, it doesn't travel. It stays in my on my face only. The eyes on my face only. It is localized. We can point out and see. This is my eyes. Similarly, we cannot show where is the mind, where is the intelligence, where is the false ego. These are so subtle, which has no shape and no formal shape and is unseen, cannot locate. But generally, the subtle body is covering of the soul. The soul is situated in the region of the heart. When we say, okay, it's a covering. The soul is covered by the subtle body first, then the gross body. So the living being has his form beyond the subtlety. Otherwise, he could not have repeated births. We have repeated births because we, when I say we, or when I say I refer to the soul. I refer to the soul. So, according to the desires, according to the karma that I have accumulated, this living entity takes another body. And again, it keeps taking different bodies according to the karma and desires. So these are the gross body, subtle body, then soul, the soul proper. Soul is the self. That doesn't get destroyed. The subtle body and the gross body gets destroyed when we get liberation from this material body. And subtle body doesn't get destroyed as long as we are there in this material world. But gross body gets destroyed after one's lifetime. This lifetime, this gross body is gone. Next lifetime, I'll get some other gross body. But subtle body doesn't get destroyed. It is material. It goes with the soul. Just like the aroma, a fragrance is being carried by the air. Similarly, the soul is also being carried by the subtle body to the next gross body. So, as the gross cosmic manifestation is conceived as a gigantic body of the Lord, so also there is conception of the subtle form which is simply realized without being seen, heard, or manifested. So, similarly, that we can see the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord also in that way. As a gross cosmic manifestation conceived as a gigantic body of the form. So also there is the conception of subtle form which is completely simply realized without being seen, which is that form Paramatma. Okay. Lord has the gigantic Virat Rupa. Similarly, there is his subtle form also, which is Paramatma, which we cannot perceive. But in fact, all these gross or subtle conceptions of body are in relation with the living beings. Lord doesn't have any such conception. This is only meant for living beings. God is Sachidananda. He has no body, he has no subtle body, he has no, gross body, no, nothing of that sort. He is Sachidananda. Even though he may appear as a human in this material world, in the form of a human, still his body is spiritual. So this is applicable only to living beings. That's what it's mentioned here. In fact, all these gross or subtle conceptions of body are in relation with the living beings, not in relation with the Supreme Lord. The living being has spiritual form beyond the gross material or subtle psychic existence. The gross body and psychic functions cease to act as soon as the living being leaves the visible gross body. Okay. Everything ceases to exist the moment the living being, the soul, leaves the visible gross body. In fact, we say that the living being has gone away because he is unseen and unheard. That is what we say. He left his body. So from that, it's very clear. He refers to the soul. Okay. And that's soul body. So the soul left his body, which is temporary. So the soul and the body are different. But unfortunately, we consider the body to be the self. So even when the gross body is not acting, when the living being is in sound sleep, we know that he is within the body by his breathing. When we are sleeping, we know that the soul is there. How? Because we are breathing. So we are alive. So the living beings passing away from the body does not mean that there is no existence of the living soul. It is there. Otherwise, how can we repeat his birth again and again? So Prabhupada makes it a point that because the soul is there, it's a living entity which is not perishable. It takes another body. There is birth and death. Okay. After this, there is birth. Again, there is death. Then again, birth. This Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is happening for the soul, not for the body. Body, of course, we take the body, we wear the body, just like how we wear the shirt and kurta and everything. So the soul is also wearing the body as its outer covering. So that is why we have births again and again, because the soul is there. Soul is the real self. The conclusion is that the Lord is eternally existent in his transcendental form, which is neither gross nor subtle like that of the living being. Okay. So this is just giving a comparison. The Lord's Virat Rupa, the Lord's Archa Vigraha, the Lord's Paramatma, there is no difference. Everything is spiritual. But for us, there's difference. Our body, our subtle body, the soul. It's all different. His body is never to be compared to the gross and subtle bodies of the living beings. All such conceptions of God's body are imaginary. Okay. So if you think that the Lord also has a body like us, it's not true. It's just imaginary. He has a body, but his body is transcendental. His body is spiritual. His body is Satchidananda. Our body is not spiritual. Our body is material. The living being has his eternal spiritual form, which is conditioned only by this material contamination. We have an eternal spiritual form, but unfortunately it is now conditioned by the material covering, Sthula and Sushma. So any doubts or any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, today is the first day of Kartik month. So we want to do Damodar Aarti with our class.
Yeah, we can.
So 10 minutes before or
Yeah, we can. Just another.
with your permission.
Yeah. We will complete this. 33. How big it is? Yeah, we want to complete the 33.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Then we can do that. So we'll take one more sloka, then we can do Damodar Aarti.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. Text 33. Yatra me sadasad-rupe pratishidhe swa-samvidam avidyayatmani krite iti tad-brahma darshanam yatra me sadasad-rupe pratishidhe swa-samvidam avidyatmani krite iti tad-brahma darshanam. Mayuri Mataji and Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatre me sadrupe pratishidhe swasamvida avidyatmani krite iti tad brahma darshanam.
Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji translation. Whenever a person experiences by self-realization that both the gross and the subtle body have nothing to do with the pure self. At that time, he sees himself as well as the Lord.
Very good. So whenever a person experiences by self-realization that both the gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the. So it's a clear indication that a self-realized person can see himself as well as the Lord. Till the time that we are self-realized, we misidentify the body to be the self. Even though theoretical knowledge is there, and we all know theoretically that we are not the body, we are the self. But we are not acting on that platform yet because we are not self-realized. We still think that this is my house, this is my family, this is my country, this is my money, isn't it? We know these are all temporary. It doesn't belong to me eternally. It comes and goes. All these things theoretically we know, but we have not self-realized to understand the fact that these are all temporary, and we have to rise to the platform of self. That's called self-realization. That time he see himself as well as the Lord. So self-realization doesn't take place overnight. Theoretically, we may know many things, but to be on the platform of self-realization, we have to practice, do sadhana. Slowly and gradually only it will happen. Depending upon our sugurdi, depending upon our strong conviction and firm faith in Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, it happens. For some people it may take years, some people it may take lives. So the difference between self-realization and material illusion is to know that the temporary or illusory impositions of material energy in the shape of gross and subtle bodies are superficial coverings of the self. Superficial coverings. Coverings takes place due to ignorance. Such coverings are never effective in the person of the personality of Godhead. So this is not applicable for Supreme Lord. We have to understand. We have to clearly mark it, distinct. The distinction we should know. It is applicable, this gross, subtle, and all this is applicable only for human beings, not for the Supreme Lord. Knowing this convincingly is called liberation or seeing the absolute. This means that perfect self-realization is made possible by adoption of godly or spiritual life. So when we come to that platform of spiritual life, then it is possible for self-realization. We have to practically apply that. Whatever principles, whatever tattvas, siddhantas given in the scriptures, we have to practically apply that to come to the platform of self-realization. Self-realization means becoming indifferent to the needs of the gross and subtle bodies and becoming serious about the activities of the self. The impetus for activities is generated from the self, but such activities become illusory due to ignorance of the real position of the self. By ignorance, self-interest is calculated in terms of the gross and subtle bodies, and therefore a whole set of activities spoiled life after life because of ignorance, because of what do you call nascence, darkness. Our interest is in the gross and subtle body. I want to satisfy my tongue. I want to satisfy my eyes, my ears, my nose. This are all on the gross form. So we have to rise above the gross and subtle. When, however, one meets the self by proper culture, the activities of the self begin. Therefore, a man who is engaged in the activities of the self is called Jivan Mukta, or a liberated person, even in the conditioned existence. The perfect stage of self-realization is attained not by artificial means, but under the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always transcendental. So we cannot attain the self-realization by some artificial or mechanical means, but by the blessings of the Supreme Lord, by following the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that He is present in everyone's heart, and from Him only all knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness take place. What is the sloka? Bhagavad Gita sloka for this. Lord is situated in His heart, in our heart, and from Him comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and memory.
The shloka comes Jnanam Apohanam Cha.
Yeah, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto Matah Smriditnyanam Apohanam Cha. Vedesya Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Kritveda Videva Chaham. Okay. So that is the sloka. When the living being decides to be an enjoyer of material energy, illusory phenomena, the Lord covers the living being in the mystery of forgetfulness. And thus the living being misinterprets the gross body, subtle mind to be his own self. So many people mistake the mind to be the self. Just ask random people. Then many of them say mind, not the soul. So that's what he has misunderstood the gross body and subtle mind to be his own self. And by culture of transcendental knowledge, when the living being prays to the Lord for deliverance from the clutches of forgetfulness, the Lord, by his causeless mercy, removes the living being's illusory curtain, and thus he realizes his own self. So now we are covered by the illusory curtain. By the blessings of Supreme Lord, if the curtain is removed, then we can see ourselves. He then engages himself in the service of the Lord in his eternal constitutional position, becoming liberated from the conditioned life. All this is executed by the Lord either through his external potency or directly by the internal potency. So everything is executed through these two potencies, Antaranga or Bahiranga. Okay, internal potency or external potency. This is it. Okay, so next is 34. So we did 31, 32, 33. Right? Okay. So next class. Vancha kalpatarubhesya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Ananda Kodi Vaishnava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Jai Go Premanande. Yes, Mataji, are you ready? The photo, the diya.
Yes, Prabhuji, only 2 minutes. 2 minutes only.
No problem. So in the meantime, anything, any questions or any comments? Vivek Prabhu? Yes.
Prabhu,
Sound
recording
is-
is going on, right? Prabhuji, recording you want to stop?
Okay, Hare Krishna. I'll stop there.